Only Buffalo is going to win it, folks.
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout.
Let's see why the Buffalo Bills are en route to the playoffs.
Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah,
Buffalo Bills go undefeated. And we're going to the Super Bowl.
right
Yeah.
now, baby.
Say you will.
Come on, come on.
Say you will.
No one
Come on
circles the
and
wagon
shout.
like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
All right, we are live, and we are back. Welcome to another episode of the Overdue Bills podcast, and we're excited, right? Because this game is a huge game, right? I know I talked about it 2 weeks ago. Shout out to our guy Max, who I'm going to be introducing in a second. He was on the show, and I said, this game was for all the marbles, but truly, this game is for all the marbles, right? This is the pinnacle of both of our seasons, the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. But before we kind of get into the show, let me introduce, my guy, our guy, Matty Ice. Matt, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just getting ready, getting some last minute stuff for Christmas going, and ready to pod, man. Ready to talk about this game, huge game coming up.
Absolutely, man. Listen, I've been, running around earlier trying to, get the last minute Christmas stuff out the way, but we definitely here for the people today, and we definitely appreciate our guy Max. How you doing? And let the people know again where they can find you and all those amazing things.
Yeah, luckily I got all my Christmas shopping done last week, actually, so I'm not scrambling around this week, thankfully. But our podcast, Patriots Unrestricted, you can find it on Twitter at @anyunrestricted. You can follow my personal at Max_Bozikas. That's MAX_BOZICAS. And you can find my co-host Adam at AdamX530. Really excited to hop on again with you guys and talk about this game.
Absolutely. Matt, can you please let the people know who is the presenting sponsor of our show?
Yes, sir. This show and every other show is brought to you by none other than Buffalo Wing Kings. There's two things the guys over here at the Overdue Bills podcast know. That's Buffalo Bills football, and that's wings. Our first choice and the best choice is Buffalo Wing Kings. At Wing Kings, it's Wings 101 with over 101 different flavors and their beloved Wing of the Month special. Wing Kings is sure to school any other wing place around. Hit them up for graduation parties, Bills games, any type of event you have going on. The holidays coming up, you want some wings, hit those guys up. Stop down and visit them at their Elmwood Village location. That's at 484 Elmwood Avenue, or give them a call at 716-248-1427 and find out why they say and we know they got the best wings in town, hands down. And make sure you mention OverdueBillsPod.com, Overdue Bills Podcast, and get 10% off your order.
But while that's being said, shout out to OverdueBillsPod.com, OverdueBillsPod.com. That's where, you can get all content, Overdue Bills, all of our articles. Shout out to our editor-in-chief, Mike D. You can get all of our, shows. Shout out to our Facebook page, our YouTube page, our Instagram page. So we thank all of you for supporting the show, for supporting the merch that we have. Oh, I don't got the merch. Oh, you said I got it on. Matt got a shirt on, but shout out to the merch. Listen, please go get it before the playoffs, because we know everybody's gonna hound us. We need a shirt, we need a hoodie, and that's fine. But you might as well get it now so you can get it out the way. All right, so let's get into this show. Quick question of the day, and this question is to both the guys on the show, but it's really to their respective teams. And I want to go to Matt first, and I'm going to go to Max. Matt, how do you feel about the Pro Bowl snubs that the Bills have, experienced this season? Talk about it, man.
Well, some more than others. Noticeably, Jordan Poyer was snubbed from the Pro Bowl this year. I mean, I think he's going to be a first-team All-Pro. I've been saying it, I think, since like week 5 or 6. He's just, he seems like he gets screwed every year out of these type of situations, and he just consistently is probably our best player on defense that gets overlooked. So noticeably him, and then obviously there's been some arguments about Josh Allen. He's, some may say he's having he's not playing as well as he was last year, but he's still having a really good year. And then, guys like Lamar Jackson getting voted in over him, I guess, that beginning part of the year kind of may have vaulted him over and just the popularity. But I thought a lot of guys got snubbed, but I'm also pretty happy because if guys do care about it, it did create a lot of chips on shoulders for this weekend.
Absolutely. Like Josh Allen obviously is the big one, right?
Mm-hmm.
For most people. But I mean, it is what it is, right? And it's just an award. It really doesn't necessarily mean anything. But, we'll see if that adds fuel to the fire during this game. So I'm going to go to Max. Max, do the Patriots fans, or do you in particular feel, that there were some snubs? And do you feel happy about the people who were selected to the Pro Bowl?
Well, I'm really happy about the people who were selected. Matt Judon definitely deserved to be there.
Absolutely.
J.C. Jackson, absolutely. Matt Slater makes it almost every year as the gunner. So as far as snubs, I don't feel particularly strongly about anyone who got snubbed. I think you could maybe make an argument for Nick Folk. But I mean, he got beat up by Justin Tucker. There's no real shame in that.
Yeah.
I think Trent Brown maybe could have made it. I noticed Deion Dawkins made it. I don't know if you guys think that he actually deserved to make it or not, but
so I'll speak real quickly. Absolutely not.
I'm happy you did bring that up because I didn't mention that before, and I was like, I might have to try to tie it back in, but no.
I don't understand how that even happened, but whatever.
Okay, yeah, because I was looking at the roster and I saw Deion Dawkins. I was like, that feels a little off. So yeah, I think maybe Trent Brown, he had a good year. I think part of the reason why he got snubbed maybe is because he didn't play for 5 or 6 games. He missed a good portion of the beginning of the season. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think a lot of guys had strong years, but like, I'm not gonna say that Hunter Henry should have made it over Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce or something like that. You know what I mean? So overall, I'm fairly satisfied with the guys who made it. They only had 3 guys selected, but that's okay with me.
Right. Shout out to the comments. You're right. Our guy Quet. Deion Dawkins definitely had too many penalties. I honestly don't. I don't know what happened or how they came up with this, but like to see Deion Dawkins, I'm not gonna lie, I was truly surprised. Like, you know, because like the first headline was like Josh Allen. The first thing I seen was Lamar Jackson got over Josh Allen. Right. That was the kind of the big thing. Then Poyer. Then it was like, okay, who did get in? It's like Diggs and Deion Dawkins. Like, what? Okay, this is a lot going on here. But it is what it is. Maybe that will help. Maybe that will help Deion Dawkins. What's up, Matt?
I was gonna say, then I will add, I'm pretty sure, Patriots fans, just like I guess, like a Pro Bowls, we're not looking to play in the Pro Bowl anyway this year. So I don't care who got in. I don't think those guys even want to play in it. They want to be playing on a different date in February. So it is what it is in that aspect.
Absolutely. With that being said, we got a game, man.
Yep.
We got a game, and it's so funny because just obviously, almost a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, we played in what they call a monsoon, so to speak, right? 100 mile per hour winds. It was crazy. Patriots only ran the ball, or passed the ball rather, 3 times. They literally ran the ball the entire game. And the Patriots got the better of the Bills. They won the game. I think all of our over-under projections was like insane because none of them even matter.
Yeah.
Maybe the Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, that definitely went over. But everything else was just a crapshoot. But with that being said, let me ask you, Matt, Max, how do you feel? I'm going to go to Max first, then Matt. How do you feel, Max, coming off that win? Like, is it somewhat of a positive for the Patriots? Like, do you feel good after that win, or was it like, it was a windstorm? It really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
I felt good. So the thing about that game is that going into that game, I didn't feel particularly strongly that the Patriots needed that game as much as the Bills did at the time. And now the Patriots are coming off a loss to the Colts, I feel like this game is a little bit more important. But going into that game, I didn't really expect much. And the way it was one of the weirdest games in the modern day history of the NFL. The last time a team threw the ball that few times was like 1984 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a fluky, weird type of game. You can never not feel good about a win, especially against a tough team, divisional opponent on the road.
Right.
But coming off that game, I felt okay, but it wasn't like, if it was under regular circumstances, I think we would have felt a lot better about it.
Interesting. So, Matt, right, we lost the game. There are a lot of things that went, either way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, how do you feel as a Buffalo Bills fan and going into this game? Are you confident, right? Obviously, we're coming off a win against Carolina, albeit, And the Patriots is coming off of a loss against the Colts, a team that beat us as well. So how do you feel, going into this game?
So going into this game, obviously there's a larger thing at stake, I guess I would say. So, coming into the season at this point in the year, we didn't think we'd even be here. This game, had you asked me, week 4, if this game was going to matter for the division, I'd be like, absolutely not. Or even playoff implications, I'd be like, absolutely not. But as I said, on the recap show the other day, every game from here on out is a playoff game. So going into it, I think that the guys will be prepared. I'm hoping conditions won't be the same as they were in Buffalo, because we have shown we're not really capable to fully stop a run attack, and we are not capable to kind of play to our strengths for the whole entire game. Like Tampa Bay, we finally slowed them down a little bit in the second half, but it was too late. In this game, same thing. We started slowing them down in the second half, but it was too late and we couldn't score. So I think going into this game we'll be a lot more prepared, and hopefully with this COVID list and injury list, we get some guys, on the offense and defensive side, and they can execute the game plan going in.
So let's stay there, right? Let's stay at the COVID. Let's stay at the injury report. Like one notable that I was talking about earlier today is a Cole Beasley, right? Who was very, very, very integral and important to our offense. So Matt, if you can talk about that COVID list and talk about, the people who are on the injury report, and Max, I'm going to go to you so we can kind of compare and see like where our teams are at going into this game, because the league is crazy right now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, so as far as the injury report, we have, I know Micah Hyde didn't practice. He had like a back issue, but it doesn't look like it's going to hinder him from playing. Josh Allen with his foot, obviously, was a full participant. And then we had a guy finally have a full practice this week on Emmanuel Sanders. So we lose Cole Beasley and probably get Emmanuel Sanders back. And then the COVID list, we have some pretty big arms, and Star missed practice today too, but it was just some personal reasons, no injury or COVID, anything like that. So the COVID list, though, we have obviously Cole Beasley, who's not going to be able to play because being unvaccinated, he has to be out for the 10 days. Then, a guy who's having terrible luck with injuries, and he actually had to go to the hospital Sunday morning, and John Feliciano, he's still on the COVID list.
Right.
So I don't think he will be back this weekend. And then we had AJ Epinesa and Deion Dawkins, again, on a Pro Bowler on the COVID list. So those guys have the potential to test out by Sunday. But, as nobody knows what's going to happen, because everybody's kind of in the dark with how they're testing up to the day after they go out. So it'll be a surprise on Sunday to see.
Right. The offensive line is obviously the biggie. Last week, our offensive line was terrible. Spencer Brown was awful. Had a million penalties, so he was out of position. So, I mean, that's been the story of the Buffalo Bills, and obviously going up against a Pro Bowler in a Matt Judon, right? I mean, that's obviously a concern, even though I think we kind of kept him at bay, but again, it was a windstorm. It was a different type of game. So, Max, can you talk about the injury report, the COVID list for the Patriots, to see where you're at coming into this game?
Yeah, so the Patriots had 4 players on the COVID list. Harvey Langia, linebacker, Cam McGrone, linebacker, Ronnie Perkins, rookie edge rusher. The big one is Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne, his status is up in the air because he's vaccinated, so he could still test into the game if he's negative back-to-back. But it's that's a big one if Kendrick Bourne doesn't play. And then as far as the actual injury report, we got Nelson Aguilar with a concussion, didn't practice yesterday, didn't practice today. It doesn't sound like he's going to go. Ramondre Stevenson dealing with illness, didn't practice yesterday, didn't practice today. Not sure. I mean, we'll see tomorrow what's going on there. I think he'll be fine, hopefully, but those are the DNPs. And then limited participants, Damien Harris coming off a hamstring injury, didn't play against Indianapolis. Pretty big deal to get him back, the best runner on the team for sure. Brandon Bolden dealing with a knee, N'Keal Harry dealing with a hip. So the Patriots are really having problems at wide receiver right now, particularly.
I mean, it's definitely interesting, and I guess we should get into the matchups now because, being thin at wide receiver, and then obviously the Bills, we lost Trey White. We have Dane Jackson and Levi Wallace. You know what I'm saying? Obviously lower tier, corners, but I'm not sure, Max. Do you know the weather in this game? Let's just get that off the way first. Does anybody know the weather that's going to happen?
So I don't think it's going to be anything particularly like crazy. I think it's just going to be cold, which is par for the course in New England. But just let me pull it up right now. Looks like, clear 41 degrees. So nothing really too crazy for this game.
A little warmer than here now.
All right. That's good. That's definitely good. So with that being said, let's go to some matchup things, right? A lot of talk has been about Mac Jones, right? And his progression or lack thereof, for that matter. And last week, he obviously started off really, really, really slow. Kind of came on at the end, but we see his limitations, right? Like, obviously, we didn't see that during the Bills game because you only threw the ball 3 times, right? They didn't want to create an opportunity where he can make mistakes. But we see that when he has a heavier load on him, right? Damian Harris was out. You had to rely on Ramondre Stevenson, just, him. And Mac Jones was kind of a little bit erratic. So let me ask you this, Max. How do you feel about a Mac Jones going into this game? Do you think it's the same situation where a Belichick and a Josh McDaniels will rely heavily on the run, or will they allow Mac Jones to kind of play a little bit more?
I think they're going to want to rely on the run because that's what they've been doing all season, is trying to rely on the run game. But as far as letting Mac Jones play a little more and throw the ball more than 3 times, I would hope. I think that the more Mac Jones has those moments, like against the Colts, where he really didn't play well for 3 quarters. I thought he was great in the 4th quarter, but I think that's the type of thing he can learn from. And I think that in a big game like this, it's an opportunity for him to make up for those mistakes he made against Indianapolis. So really, I think you're going to see definitely more of a balanced approach than a couple of weeks ago on Monday night. I do think that the Patriots, especially with Damian Harris back, are going to lean on the run game as much as they can. But I don't think it's going to be a lack of confidence in trying to get Mac Jones going in the air either.
Interesting, because Matt, we see like the pressure is right when a team can get up on somebody, right? Then you force them to kind of do something they don't want to do in throwing the ball. So let me ask you this twofold question. How do you feel about Mac Jones, and do you think he's up for the task? And with that being said, do you think Josh Allen is ready, or, to come out, and kind of give us that lead, like to be precise, even though we're down, one of his best receivers? How do you feel about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, he has to be able to, like I said on the recap show too, I think if we get up to 21 points, I'm confident that our defense can kind of hold them under that to win this game. So 3 scores, you got to convert. We had 5 times down in the red zone last game, missed a field goal, and then went turnover on downs the last possession of the game and the possession before that. So we got to convert those kind of things to be able to win this. As far as Mac Jones, I like I said, even in our game or our preview before, I want to see him be able to him throw the ball a lot more than I want them to be able to run the ball, because I don't have the confidence that we can stop them for the full game running the ball. So I do want to make him pass and try to make some mistakes, and I think that'll play more in our favor for sure.
Okay, Max, can you talk about I know you talk about Nelson Aguilar, and a lot of the pass catchers is having some issues, but one pass catcher, Hunter Henry, right? It's been money in the red zone. Can you talk about what he means to the team, and why is it that, when you get down in the red zone, you don't necessarily, you do run, but it's not like a 3 down we run, but you actually look for a Hunter Henry. Do you think that is something that you're going to explore, even though obviously we have 2 elite safeties who will be back there trying to cover them? Is that something that you will explore?
Yeah, they explore every week, and Hunter Henry has been just such a monstrous presence in the red zone, like you just said, and it's been night and day compared to the last couple of years. 2019, 2020, they just had no semblance of a tight end whatsoever. It has been an absolute revelation to have Hunter Henry on the roster. So yeah, I think that especially with these pass catchers potentially not playing, like Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne, I think that they're going to try and lean on Hunter Henry a lot more. And obviously you'll see other guys too. You'll see Jacoby Myers. Maybe you'll see some N'Keal Harry. I don't know. But I really think Hunter Henry's the guy again this week, like he was last week against Indianapolis. And I think it's a tough task for him to go against these safeties and Poyer and Hyde, but I feel pretty confident about him being able to get open against most defenses.
So let me ask you this, right? Do you feel like you have a coaching advantage, right? There, a lot has been said about last game, about how Belichick only threw the ball 3 times and he still beat the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo or in Orchard Park for that matter, right? So do you think that going into this game, I mean, obviously he's one of the greatest coaches of all time, but you get what I'm saying, right? Is it a situation where you're coming from that game and knowing how, you kind of dominated, so to speak? Like, do you think that like coming in, we have an advantage coaching wise? All we have to do is kind of manage this game and just get out with the win. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, and that's how I feel going into pretty much every game. I mean,
yeah.
like you just said, the greatest coach of all time. But the one thing that I feel very confident about is that this team is going to be fundamentally ready to play, because last week they weren't. Against Indianapolis, they were a complete mess coming off their bye week.
Wow.
And part of that's on the players, part of that's on the coaching staff, maybe not being as hard on these players, because a lot of these guys are new. You know what I mean? Like, even guys from not just this year, but last year as well, a lot of these newer players who aren't really used to being in this winning culture in New England. This is finally, after last year, this is a bounce back year for them. But a lot of these guys are not really familiar with this process. And I think Bill Belichick is trying to kind of learn about this roster a little bit. But I think after last week, he's going to whip these guys into shape, and they're going to be 100% ready to go on Sunday. And I feel really confident about the coaching advantage that the Patriots have.
So, Matt, with that being said, as far as the coaching advantage, right, we talk about schemes. There's been a lot of talk about Brian Daboll, our offensive coordinator, a lot of talk about Sean McDermott and the things that he hasn't necessarily done. Obviously, we don't have the caliber of Bill Belichick, but what do you think the coaches have to do this game, right? We understand last week JT killed them, right? Jonathan Taylor killed them. We don't have Jonathan Taylor, but Devin Singletary has been playing better. And there's been a lot of talk about, listen, we need to be more balanced. We need to run the ball more. We need to be more creative with the run. So what do you think the coaching staff is going to lean more towards, especially offensively, this game?
Well, I think they're going to try to get some balance in there, and then like Daboll has been doing when we've been successful the last couple of weeks, is kind of throwing some more pieces in there to cause some confusion for the defense. We're not a team like the Patriots that's going to come out and load up the line and just beat you. We're not, we're not going to do that. You got to throw in some misdirection, some Isaiah McKenzie's, fake jet sweeps or even jet sweeps, something they have to do that, because we're just not going to come up front and dominate the Patriots front seven at all. That's just not how we are. That's not how we're going to be successful. So Daboll definitely has to come in and throw some things together to be able to open up Singletary like he has been able to do the last couple of weeks. So that just kind of keep that formula going. And then, an emergence of Gabriel Davis the last couple of weeks. I like him in our number 2 slot against, I don't know who's the other corner besides JC Jackson.
Jalen Mills.
Jalen Mills. Okay. So I like that matchup. And then even maybe, Emmanuel Sanders, if he's healthy, can he play a little bit in the slot for a replacement of Cole Beasley, or even Isaiah McKenzie? Give him some more, throw some more things out there with him. So you definitely got to mix it up and throw some confusion at that defense, because we're not just going to come out and dominate them.
So let me ask y'all this, right? The game is going to be the game, right? We seen them play. It was kind of a different game. We don't really have a feel, so to speak. Definitely going to be interesting. So let me ask you this, Max, and I'm going to ask Matt right after. Is this a must-win for the New England Patriots, right? Do y'all feel the sense of urgency to say, right, we actually need this game. We want this game because we want to lead the division?
It's not necessary. They can still win the division if they lose this game. But in my respect, I think it's definitely a must-win game in the sense that you can put Buffalo away here. I mean, you can end this right here this weekend, and then you got Jacksonville, which is a gimme, and then Miami week 18, which is a team they struggle against. And so that's why you think if the Patriots lose this game, both teams are 9-6. Both teams have a gimme next week, I think. Patriots play Jacksonville, Bills play Atlanta. Week 18, Patriots have to go on the road against Miami. And I've seen enough of the Patriots in Miami these last few years to understand that I really don't want to be in that situation. So if the Patriots can get this win, I think it essentially puts the division away from them. If not, it's definitely a question.
You are absolutely right. I mean, I remember I may or may not have been downtown. I may or may not been wagering, and I'm watching the Patriots like, you have to be kidding me, losing to the Miami Dolphins. But that's neither here nor there. So, Matt, is this a must-win for the Buffalo Bills? Because if we lose, we still can't get into the playoffs. We need some things to happen. But do you believe this is a must-win?
100%. I mean, we have to get rid of the narrative, the same old Bills, right? if we're going to take this team to the next level, we have to take this opportunity where we have our destiny in our own hands and execute and win this game. So 100% must win for me.
Interesting.
I don't want to play the oh man, if they lose and we win, if that, we did too much of that over the past decade or even longer, but I'm done with that. Gotta win.
Absolutely right. I don't want to do that either. And with that being said, let's get into the game a little bit more. Let's go to our expectation versus reality segment. Here we kind of do our over-unders, even though I will admit last 2 weeks ago the over-unders didn't make any sense.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was terrible. Like
it was bad. I think we got everything wrong.
I was gonna clip, but I was like, nah, that was terrible. So let's just forget that game, just like everybody else did. And let's go into some over-unders in this game. But before we do that, Matt, can you please let the people know who is sponsoring this segment?
Yes, sir. This segment is brought to you by the good people at Buffalo Pet Supply. Do you have a pet? Are you looking to get a pet or know someone who has a pet? There's only one place to send them to make that pet live its best life. Buffalo Pet Supply. Specializing in fish, small animals, and reptiles, Buffalo Pet Supply can get you set up or maintain whatever setup you may have. Stop down and see the family-owned and operated staff over at 1345 Military Road, or give them a call at 716-874-1951. And same deal, when you go there, mention Overdue Bills Podcast, get 10% off your order. But also, I know my parents and, I know other people, they fill a stocking for their dog for Christmas morning. You have coming up on Saturday. They're running a special. You can bring in a stocking and fill it up for your pet, and everything in that stocking is 20% off. So make sure you get down there. That's a great deal. I know my parents went down and did that today, so their dog's going to be happy come Christmas morning, just like I'm sure a lot of other people will be. So stop down there today.
Absolutely, I might have to go down there. I need to go down there and get a stocking for my girl dog. It's a nice gift. Shout out to Buffalo Pet Supply, where your expectation is their reality. All right, let's get into some over-unders to see how we feel. Listen, let me give this disclaimer. You may not want to go down there and put some money on it. I don't know. It just didn't work out last.
Don't listen to anything we say.
No, yeah, exactly. But, we are not a gambling podcast. We are, we're just opinions. We're just opinions, guys.
Right, and we have Josh Allen at 237.5. And it's very interesting, right? So I'm going to go to Matt. Matt, over under 237.5 for Josh Allen.
I'm going to go just over. I'm going to say like 245, something like that. It's not going to be a 300-yard game, but I think he's going to go over that 237.
Max?
Yeah, same idea. I think definitely over, but not by much, like 250, something like that. This Patriots secondary is too good. I do think Allen's going to get his, but I don't think he's going to have like a monster game by any stretch of the imagination. But 237.5, that's not a very high number, especially for him. So I will go over that.
We said that last time, but no.
I will be the one to say. I guess no. I'll save it for the prediction, the final prediction. So go ahead, Sam.
Matt Jones 205.5 over under Max.
Over. I mean, they're gonna throw it at least 4 times. So so I'm gonna go over. Probably not by very much. I could see like 220, 230. I don't think that they're going to have to ask him to try and carry the load and throw the ball like 40 times or something like that. But I do think that he'll go over in this one, but slightly.
Yeah,
you can go.
I'm gonna go with the over because of, I guess, of my own personal wants of us getting up a little bit and them having to throw the ball a lot more. I want him to throw the ball 35 times, in this game. But I'm going to just go over just from that.
Interesting. I think that will be a telltale of how the game goes. And I think this will too. This will be a telltale. Josh Allen over 33.5 rushing yards. And I'm going to ask Matt first because Josh Allen has had a foot problem, right? He's been having a foot problem. They didn't have any design runs last game. I'm not sure if it was because, they kind of knew they had the game in hand. But Matt, how do you feel? 33.5 over under Josh Allen rushing yards.
I think he's going to go over because I think it's just going to be a game where he's going to have to move a little bit and make those kind of plays to be able to win. So I can go over on that. And also, even if we have our Pro Bowl left tackle there, or even Spencer Brown, it's still going to be a tough go, for against a Matthew Judon and a Van Noy. So
right.
I'm going to go over.
Right, Max.
Yeah, I'm going to go over too. And the reason I'm going to go over is because, like Matt said, I mean, they really didn't need Josh Allen's legs against Carolina. Carolina's a mess. But I think you noticed the week prior to that against Tampa Bay, he ran a lot. And in a game where I think the Bills were desperate and really needed to win, and this is another one of those games where the Bills need to win this game. And I think that Josh Allen's legs are going to play a huge factor in this game. So I'm going to go over. I mean, the reality is he's the best runner on that team, and they're going to use him as such in a game that they need to win.
I agree. I honestly think Josh Allen is going to, I mean, he's going to have to, right? He's going to have to extend plays. He's going to have to make those like game-winning drives. I'm with you, Matt. I'm in lockstep with both of you. And I do, because the crazy thing is, like, with the Patriots, a lot of the players are not on these lists, for COVID and a number of reasons. So, I mean, that's why it's very Bills, heavy. Like, I'm literally not seeing, like, any receivers. Like, I'm not seeing Stevenson. Yeah. I'm not seeing Damian Harris. So, like, I mean, I can make up a line, but, I mean, it's telling. Like, people are out. I don't know what's going to happen. But I do want to ask about Gabriel Davis. Because even though we understand Stephon Diggs, right? But Gabe Davis has been doing a great job. I'm sure Jalen Mills is probably going to stick him, right? He's probably going to be on him for majority of the game. Patriots tend to play man in most situations. So I'm going to ask you this, Max. Do you think, two questions, Gabriel Davis over 42.5? I would just answer that, and I'll ask Matt another question.
Under. I think I like what this Patriots defense can do against the Bills. I think Diggs is the guy to watch out for there, obviously, and J.C. Jackson's going to be there with Diggs. Jalen Mills is having an all right year.
He is.
And he's not. I mean, he's nothing special, but he's been a great boundary corner. His coverage hasn't been a liability. He's been a good run defender too. So I like him matching up against Gabe Davis.
So, Matt, over under 0.5 touchdowns for Gabe Davis. He's our touchdown scorer. Do you think he's going to score?
So I think he's going to score only because of the fact that he's our red zone threat. He is. Josh looks at him in the red zone. Besides that back shoulder throw that he loves to throw to Stephon Diggs, and that's usually successful. But Gabe Davis is our big red zone guy. So I'm going to go over 0.5 touchdowns if he's going to score.
I think so too. I mean, you might need to book that, everybody. Matt Jones, over under 1 interception. Max?
Oh, I'm going first. Okay. I'm gonna go under.
Wow.
I think Mac Jones has shown that he is. I mean, he's only had 2 multi-interception games this year, and there's been some games where he's thrown a pick in here and there and made a mistake. I think that this team is going to be laser focused this week, and I think that they're going to be trying to play as mistake-free football as possible, and that obviously starts with him because he made quite a few mistakes Saturday night against the Colts, aside from the interception. But He's proven that he can play mistake-free football. That was his biggest trait in Alabama as well, and that's something that he's transferred over to New England, and I think that this is going to be a clean game for him.
Matt?
I'm going to go with over, and I hate to use the Pro Bowl snub as a thing, but I think our guys, last game against the Patriots, we didn't have that play on defense that, was like a huge turnover or something like that to kind of get the offense. And it's nothing that they did. And they were like, I kept like clamoring on we need a big play here. We need a big play here, defense, or, not just to stop. We need a turnover here. We got to flip this field. We got to do this, and they just weren't doing it. I think they're going to have one of those plays in this game, and to watch out for like a Jordan Poyer. He's leading our team in interceptions. I could definitely see a pick from him this game.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how the game unfolds. So with that being said, I want to hear your predictions, man. Matt, you said you had something in store for us on this prediction side, so let me hear your predictions, Matt. First.
Well, I was way off on last time. I was thinking we were gonna come in and we were gonna, we were not dominate, but definitely be able to score the football. And obviously we could not do that. So I know I said it on the recap show, and today we got to get to at least 21 to win this football game. So my score prediction is going to be a 24-13 victory for us, because I do think that we are going to be able to convert in this red zone, this football game, and be able to get out and score.
Interesting. 24-13. Max?
So I was wrong too. I mean, I thought the Patriots were going to split these games, and I thought that they would lose last Monday night. I at least had it close. Y'all were saying like 2 or 3 touchdown win.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly what I said, but I'm going to go Patriots. I think they pull off the sweep. I'm going to go Patriots 24-20.
Interesting. I will say this. I do think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a close game. But Matt, will you have something to say?
Well, I know, like, during the game, Mike, or another guy on our show, Mike, he was like, "Oh, Matt's gonna have to eat so much crow on the recap show coming up. This is ridiculous." So definitely, and that 24-13, I think it probably will end up being like maybe a garbage time touchdown. It's gonna be a lot closer than that score. I think maybe we'll get something late just to kind of open it up, and then that's how I think the game will go. But definitely gonna stick with that prediction here.
That's definitely a low scoring for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So, well, the 20-24, that's a 44. I think the over under is at 43 or somewhere in that area. But, I'm definitely interested to see what happens, man. It's definitely an exciting time for both of these teams. Didn't think the Patriots would be there, but they are, and here we go, man. So I'm definitely waiting with huge anticipation for this game. But Matt, can you please let the people know about our contest?
Yes. So the contest, we've had a bunch of submissions already, which I'm happy about. But you are going to predict the score just like me and Max just did. Give your score prediction. We got Patriots and Bills. It's open to all fans, not just Patriots and Bills fans. But as a tiebreaker, you're going to do the total offensive yards you think the Bills are going to have, because this year we have not had a person predict the score correctly. Then we want to give away a gift card every week. So the prize is a $30 gift card to Buffalo Wing Kings. But after you're done giving your score prediction and your yardage prediction, we want you to tag 2 people, because we want more people to get involved and try to play their luck at winning a gift card. So that's our contest. It's open to Instagram and Facebook. You have until 1 p.m. on Sunday to get in that contest.
All right. Definitely be a part of the contest. We definitely appreciate everybody for being on the show. Please like, share, rate, review, and subscribe. Hit up our guy Max. We definitely appreciate him for the second time. And who knows? Maybe we'll see each other in the playoffs. I don't know the way it's going. You know what I'm saying? You never know, what's going to happen. But with that being said, I think that's it. Shout out to OverdueBillsPod.com. OverdueBillsPod.com. Please get your merch at our Instagram store, at our Facebook store. And I think we end every show, Matt, with a little bit of that. Hey, 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 hey.
Hey.